Welcome to Movie House Cinemas. Popcorn? Yes, please. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the movie. Reclining chairs? Don't mind if I do. Action, thriller, romance, we got it all. Discover the cinema today. Movie House Cinemas, home of the movies.
Good evening, and welcome along to another edition of Rob and Elliott Tonight. Another packed show for you this week. I'll be chatting to singer-songwriter Daniel James, who you may remember from 90s boy band Yell from way back in the day. We'll find out what he's getting up to, and we'll play his brand new Christmas single as well. Talking about new music, we'll have something good from Luann Parle. I'll be meeting artist Stephen Whalley, and we've got acting royalty on the show tonight. A man who starred in everything, like the movie Chariots of Fire, like Ever-Decreasing Circles on your TV screens back in the 1980s, and of course more recently in Downton Abbey as well. Peter Egan is going to be with us, and we'll be meeting a very special family as well, Glenda and Dylan Cohey. Dylan recently won gold in the British Transplant Games. We'll find out more about that, but as always, let's begin the show with this week's big talking points. To help us do it, Mr. Showbiz Paul Martin and Jenny the Doc have been back with us, causing mayhem in the studio. Here's what happened. As always, to start the show, it is that moment. They caused chaos, they caused mayhem last week when they were here, and I'm surprised they're back actually this week. It's Paul Martin, Mr. Showbiz, and Jenny the Duck.
Thanks for letting us back. And first of all, can I just say last week, I'm really sorry about that really crass story that we talked about. Jenny's really expensive shoes, which she's wearing again this week.
Yeah, a lot of complaints about last week's show. A lot of complaints. Paul, what have you got this week?
I didn't know my shoes were offensive.
Yeah, but they are. They are.
But I have
You've got something more offensive there.
I do. Vladimir Putin has put out an arrest warrant for the Ukraine Eurovision winner from 2016.
Why?
Because she went on record and said she supports Ukraine, not Russia. So now, if this girl enters Russia ever, she's going to be in jail for the rest of her life.
I was thinking about this when I read this story. I thought there are many people that I could put on the most wanted list for crimes against music from the Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't actually a bad song. It was quite a good song.
Yeah.
The Ukraine winner from 2016.
I don't know who that is.
Apparently, Russia says she's on the list for unknown reasons, but then it came out it's because she put up a social media post
I personally think it's
against
song.
Putin.
I think it's that song. I think it's the song.
But it was from 2016, so it was from the song. It would have been a long time ago.
Very bad song.
Paul, can you do better than that?
I can.
I do hope so.
I can, Robin. I've got this. Trust me. This is my favourite story of the year, actually. Okay?
Oh, this is a good
Don't
one.
worry, it's not rude.
Okay.
Plane forced to return to airport after horse escapes on board.
First of all, how do we get a horse on a plane?
It's somebody's emotional support animal.
It could be. You know,
okay.
in the era of the.
We saw a sign in the grocery store in Miami, remember?
We did. In the era of the.
No emotional support ponies allowed in public.
I can't even get a 5-kilo cavapoo on a plane.
Well, that would trigger you, wouldn't it? I mean, but you do. Here's the nuts news. He spends a fortune putting them in a 5-star dog hotel, correct?
Yes,
because we can't get her on the plane.
Yeah, and booking into restaurants.
But can't her agent help you out? She has an agent.
She's an agent now, yeah.
So the agent can get her on a first-class plane for sure.
We'll try.
Or a private jet.
This
You have
is
to
true.
charter a plane.
Well, first of all, they can get a horse on it. It was a cargo airline. I think that's
a bit
how they went.
different, yeah.
Probably transporting like a thoroughbred to a race or something.
They put the air traffic control audio has emerged of this, and they're like, it's kind of like, we've got a problem.
Why are you doing an American voice?
I could just assume it had to be an American voice. I mean, it doesn't sound nuts.
Very stereotypical.
Ground control, we got a problem here. We may not have to make an emergency landing, but we're looking for some advice.
Wait, on a scale of 1 to 10, how's his American accent?
Pretty good.
It's very good.
Pretty solid.
What?
Pretty solid, Jenny the Doc.
It is, yeah.
Yes, stay in your lane. They said they had the horse had basically broken out of its little carriage thing.
Don't they like lock him up in the
They
pen?
do, yes, but it was running wild down on the undercargo.
What if it started like at race speed and went through
that'd be
the cockpit?
that'd be the solution, right? But the wild horse, that is the first time that's ever happened. probably the last. And it did make an emergency landing. And the horse, I was going to say dog, I'm thinking of your cover poo. The horse returned to the stables. That's what you get for trying to transport horses.
So the horse was fine?
The horse was fine, that's what matters.
Fine.
That's animal rights people, the horse was fine.
Was the pilot okay?
The
Did the plane get on the ground okay?
Don't care about the pilots.
Okay.
Animals you care about.
So there we go. One
Well,
final...
you know they're reducing the amount of horses at Grand National this year for safety of the horse.
Well, that's why, because of the plane.
No!
We can't transport them in. Okay,
Exactly.
give us the final
This is
Final story, this one's insane. 2 firefighters were fired after stopping at Chick-fil-A on the way to an emergency.
Stopping at where?
Chick-fil-A, you know.
So this is like,
I get it now, yes.
This is like a KFC, folks, in America.
Except like healthier, because like...
Yeah, healthy in America, go on.
Healthy for America. Anyway, these 2 Washington, D.C. firefighters, you know, firefighters in the States are paramedics too.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Got a call for chest pain, you know, it could be a heart attack, very serious.
Yeah.
They had placed their Chick-fil-A order. So they said, let's just swing by Chick-fil-A
On the
way to pick up the heart attack patient. But anyway, they were arrested because the surveillance cameras saw that they had stopped at Chick-fil-A and a man had called with heart attack symptoms and they didn't want their food to get cold.
Safe hands in America, Robin, if you ever come over.
Washington, D.C.
Really are.
Our country's capital.
This is going to end up in the American news.
Oh, it is.
Irish Chat Show has American doctor on to tell us about the American healthcare system. I can see it now. Guys, you coming back for the Christmas special next week?
If we're still invited, as long as Donna's there, I'll be there.
Right, we'll do it. We'll see you next week.
Merry Christmas!
Right, time for some brand new music now. One of my favourite female Irish singer-songwriters is back with a brand new single. It's called Forever in My Mind. Here is the brilliant Luann Parle.
New York was cold the night that we walked through Central Park. Your smile was frozen, darling, forever in my mind. The snow still falls upon the city street. We fell in love. Now our footprints are fading, darling, forever in my mind. I kept the ring and all of the magical moments you gave me. They'll always shine, know that they'll live like precious diamonds.
So there we go, some brand new music from Luann Parle. We'll have something new from singer-songwriter Daniel James a little bit later on, and Daniel will be joining us in the studio as well. Before all that, we're chatting to actor and animal lover Peter Egan about why he's helping to build sanctuaries for bears. We'll find out more right after these.
Heading to the North Coast, the Jet Centre in Coleraine offers entertainment for everyone. There's an 8-screen movie house cinema with all the best movies, 10-pin bowling, a massive arcade, soft play for the wee ones. Outdoors, there's a mini fun park and gem mining, plus an 18-hole floodlit mini golf course. Rain or shine, there's something for everyone here at the Jet Centre. Find out more at thejetcentre.co.uk.
And welcome back to Robin Elliott tonight. Now, my next guest has appeared in movies like Chariots of Fire, on TV with Richard Bryars and Penelope Wilton in Ever-Decreasing Circles back in the 1980s. And of course, more recently, he played Shrimpy in the brilliant TV series Downton Abbey. As well as being a fabulous actor, Peter Egan is also an animal lover, and he's been working with the charity Animals Asia recently to eradicate bear bile farms and instead build a sanctuary for them. Here's a look at some of Peter's work.
The end game begins here, thanks to almost 30 years of hard work.
Thanks to Animals Asia, the Vietnam government has agreed to end the awful practice of biofarming.
There are hundreds of bears still trapped in biofarms waiting to be rescued.
Now they're building a sanctuary so that they can rescue the remaining bears.
It's going to provide a safe and lush home for every bear.
Finally, all those bears still trapped in farms are going to be rescued.
Once the last bear was saved, he's told we were over.
So please, raise your paw now for the moon bears.
And together, we can make sure that no bear is left behind.
So earlier on this week, I caught up with Peter to talk about his love of animals, why he wants to help these bears, and he's been telling me about some of the horrendous conditions that he saw when he went to visit these animals.
I mean, the conditions for bears in bear bile farms is just horrendous, really. I mean, if you take a situation like a moon bear, generally will live in the wild for up to 30 years, and on a daily basis, a moon bear would probably travel around 40 miles a day, foraging for food and, eating and being a wonderful gardener of the forest, just by its natural activity. And so to take a moon bear like that, and the moon bears are called moon bears because they have a golden crescent on their chest that distinguishes them from other big brown bears. In the bear bile industry, they are put in what is called a crush cage, and that means they can't move around. And that is to protect the farmers who want to extract their bile on a daily basis from an open port that is fed into their gallbladder, which is incredibly painful and also opens to great infection. So these wonderful creatures are plied with antibiotics, and everything about their lives is stolen from them, and their spirits are broken. And some go mad, and some have such terrible stereotypic behavior as a result of this imprisonment that they never recover. Many of them destroy all of their teeth because they chew into the bars. In some cases, the farmers will extract their claws in order to make them less dangerous, even with their claws from scratching them. So everything about their lives, their natural behavior, is stolen from them. And these bears are just reduced to a kind of commodity from which the farmers can extract their bile, which I hasten to add is of no value whatsoever, really, because whatever remedial element of bear bile, which is generally to do with rheumatic pains and joint pains, and also some, crazy old blokes think it's good for their libido or cure their hangover. So it's, just silly stuff like that. Because bear bile acid is made synthetically, it is far better and far healthier for anyone who wants to use it, rather than using it through traditional Chinese medicine. So you take the bear and you destroy it, basically, and some of them die in the cages, as I said. But now, with the terrific pressure being put on the industry, both in China and particularly in Vietnam, I was in Vietnam last week for the celebration of the opening of the second sanctuary for Animals Asia in Bac Ma, which is just outside the city of Hue. There were 300 bears in Vietnam waiting to be rescued. And so the bears are taken from these crush cages and put into a rehabilitation cage, which is much, 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 much bigger. And they go there, are placed there for up to a month or 6 weeks, so as they can just adjust to being in a semi-normal space. But that recovery cage, where they are then given medicine and an enriched diet, which enables this team to study how much damage has been done to them physically and what needs to be repaired. And they will stay, as I say, in that cage for up to 6 weeks, and then they will be slowly released into this wonderful enclosure that has got bear furniture, which replicates as much as possible life in the wild. So they have climbing frames, they have swinging frames, they have water features, and they are trained to forage for food. The food is hidden all over the enclosure. So they get as much of a sort of created habitat. They will never return to the wild because they couldn't exist. Yeah. So they are given as much as they can to, replace the lost habitat and the loss of their lives. Some of them psychologically don't recover, and it just repeats the kind of rocking and rolling of stereotypic behavior. And every bear that goes there has their gallbladder removed because it is so infected. So it is the worst possible animal welfare situation, I think, on the planet today. There's no other cruelty that actually touches the cruelty imposed on moon bears in bio cages on bio farms. It's horrible.
Now, you've also adopted a bear yourself, haven't you?
I do. I'm Peter Bear. I met Peter Bear the first time I visited the sanctuary in Chengdu back in 2012, when Jill Robinson, the founder of Animals Asia, an amazing woman, she asked me to be a UK ambassador, and they said, and we would like to give you, to reward you, if you like, for want of a better word, by naming a bear after you. And so 2 weeks before I arrived in Chengdu, Peter Bear had been rescued and had grown in a fetal position into a cage that I couldn't climb into. It was so small. So you can imagine this 6-foot bear really crushed into a crush cage. And he was very angry and very confused. And I went to visit him in the recovery center 2 weeks after he had arrived, and because he had got used to the other carers, I was a male stranger coming in, and when he saw me, he leapt back 2 meters. It was extraordinary. And I, on the one hand, felt very sad he felt the need to do that because I was here to emotionally embrace this bear. But at the same time, I was thrilled that even after all that time in a cage, he was that agile, that he could move that fast. And they told me a remarkable story, which really brought tears to my eyes, that when he woke up for the first time, and he stood in the big open cage, it was such an effort for him to stand up that, a bit like Atlas Shrugged, he grabbed the bars and the whole of the cage started to shake like there was an earthquake. And that was just the physical imposition of standing for the first time in his life. And I've never forgotten that image. And he's the most wonderful bear. They're all wonderful. The moon bears are wonderful. They're very, very, they forgive. They're very stoical. What I always find amazing is visiting bears in the sanctuary, whether it be in China or Vietnam, to see a bear that has been crushed by a cage coming towards humans who are now caring for him or her, and they approach the bars of the cage that they've tried to chew themselves out of, they destroy their teeth or banging their head on the bars, come and they hold the bars and they put their snout between the bars to receive the enrichment and the medicine that they get before they're released into the big enclosure. And I just found that trust and that forgiveness really heartwarming and very moving.
Well, if people do want to help out, give us the website details.
Anyone who wants to help, and I can highly recommend that they do. It's my favorite charity on the planet. Google animalsasia.org, and that will take you to the Animals Asia site. You can also Google moon bears having fun on YouTube, and you'll see a feast of wonderful videos of bears doing remarkable things. You can go on Facebook Live and see bears being rescued live as it's happening. Most wonderful viewing, and great charity.
So Peter, since we have you on the show this evening, anything coming up on TV that we should know about?
Yes, I have a new series, in fact, starting on Channel 4 in January. It's called True Love. It's a wonderful cast, and the subject, and this sounds a bit morbid, but it's not morbid. The subject matter of the series is a group of people in 70 plus who have known each other all their lives and have come to the point in their lives where they may be facing that death moment and wanting to avoid the pain of dying slowly. They decide through a pact one evening while they were in the pub and had too much to drink, they decide to, on a thing called True Love, the name of the series, and that true love is assisted suicide. And so it sounds a bit heavy, but the series isn't heavy. It's remarkable it's beautifully done with a great cast, with Lindsay Duncan and Clark Peters, myself, Phil Davis, and Carl Johnson, Sue Johnston as well. Really, really fabulous cast, beautifully written scripts. I can't recommend it more highly. It's wonderful.
Brilliant. Well, Peter, it's been lovely talking to you. The best of luck with your work with Animals Asia as well, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure. Thanks for asking me.
So my next guest is a top artist. He joined me in the studio earlier on this week, and he's also an expert in yo-yos as well. Here's what happened when I met Stephen Whalley. My next guest on the show this evening is one of Belfast's top artists. I first met him at the Belfast Christmas Market quite a few years ago. I'm trying to remember how many, probably 5 or 6, maybe even more. And I'm pleased to say that Stephen Whalley joins us in the studio. How are you, sir?
I'm great, thanks, Rob.
Good to see you, and I see you've brought the Harlan and Wolff silks with you as well. I have one of those in a pocket square, which you first gave me at the Christmas market many years ago.
Yes, just off the cuff, wasn't it? Yeah. Walking past. It was actually a project that I'd done about sort of 6-7 years ago, and I seen a sort of gap in the market for tourists that were coming here, and they were sort of leaving with just like cards or whatever, and all of a sudden I sort of thought about putting some of my art and designs onto the silks.
And they're great pocket squares. You've got one in at the minute. We've got the Harlan and Wolff one there, and we've even got the George Best one here as well, haven't we?
Absolutely. Anything from Northern Ireland I like to put on it, you know, just to promote the place.
People always say to you, you're not going to make any money as an artist, so waste of time, go and get some exams and do something else.
Yeah, I had that sort of entrepreneurial sort of spirit in school where I was sort of buying sweets out of Musgraves and packaging them up and, you know, and sell them in bulk, and you know, so I always was at that, and I actually used to run sort of club nights and things in Belfast years ago when I was 16, and you know, I had that sort of real business sort of spirit in me too. So with the art and the business, it does help to have both, you know. But back in about 2007 then as well, my wife and I opened a gallery, and she's an artist too, and then that's when we sort of fully concentrated on it really.
And she's in there doing these great portraits of dogs, isn't she? I saw some the other day on the socials. They're amazing.
She had a mad idea in September about 2 months ago. Oh, I'm going to paint a series of about 30 dogs. I went, right, okay. And so she was locked away like Cinderella for the last couple of months, and she produced some amazing paintings there. And I done all the work in the background, sort of doing all the website stuff and promoting it all, and doing it all for her. And she launched it there, and it's been a great success already. So
brilliant!
It's been excellent. Yeah,
we got one of your great landscapes here beside us at the minute. A view that I know very well. That's Musselman Temple up there, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I love this part of the world, as do obviously a lot of other people. Again, during the lockdowns and stuff, everybody sort of was escaping up there, and the place looked like some beach in Benidorm, you know. But I mean, now it's the beauty of it, and the colours and the sunsets that you get up there. So I do love going up there and having a walk and clearing my head as well. But that scene in particular, just with the temple there, is one of my favourites actually to paint. So.
And again, up there as well, the landscapes are changing on a daily basis. As you say, the colours, the sky is changing all the time. So you're always going to get a completely different shot from somebody else, aren't you?
Absolutely. And again, if you're painting this scene, you know, in different sizes, you don't even need to look at a photo anymore, because you can make it up in your head. You know, and you've got that lovely, beautiful view at the other side of it then, with the Strand there as well, which is really popular too, you know.
So where else is good to paint then? I know your Belfast paintings do really well, don't they?
Yeah, well, you know what, I like to do them in a sort of series, or, you know, I usually collect a lot of images. I have a studio that I built actually during lockdown too, for something to do, and it's out the back of my house, so I basically have an office and a studio there, and I go out most nights and paint right into the early hours of the morning. Wow. And produce a lot of good work, you know, with a bit of music on. So, but yeah, I would form lots of sort of photographs, basically I print them all out, and then I sort of choose a sort of theme or a sort of place, or it could be something to do with like a seaside town or something, and then off I go. But just towns that I really like Donegal. That's another famous one that I love going down there, and I was always fishing down there when I was a wee boy and stuff with my family, so yeah, I enjoy doing that.
Now, I believe you're good friends with comedian Terry McHugh, who I've had him on the show before, and there's more to Terry than just comedy, because he's also a yo-yo champion.
Yes.
I believe you are as well.
Yes. Well, we had a quick chat about it, and yes, me and Terry actually were away together on and worked for the Russell Spinner crowd that were over in Florida together. So,
and it was
yeah,
serious
we go way
business.
back.
You're all over the world, weren't you?
Yeah, and again, I mean, we were selling about 1.5 million, 2 million YoYos every couple of months. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was good fun.
And I believe you still carry one with you at
I'm
all
always
times.
carrying one. This is one of the gold ones that I had before, or I had always out with me, and I always carry it everywhere, basically. And Terry will always carry his too. So you can always do it, and you can do it with your eyes closed. But yeah, so we always carry YoYos no matter where we went. So there you are.
How do you discover you can do that?
I remember the point exactly in my life when
Yeah?
I did, yeah. I was busy at school when I was about sort of 8 years old, and I lifted one, and I literally was able to just pick it up, and I'd done 50 loops the very first time I'd done it. And I went, oh my goodness, I can do this.
Yeah.
So it was just this skill that arrived. And then I realised that if you practice it a bit more, you can get better at things. So, and again, that goes with the art too. So
Yeah.
the more you paint, the better you get. So I've always had that ethos, and I've passed it on to my sons too, because I said, if you practice, you'll be getting better.
So when it comes to your gallery opening night, you're going to have to do a bit of yo-yoing as well at the same time.
Well, maybe me and Terry will do it for old time's sake, do a double, you know.
That'd be amazing.
A double show. Absolutely.
So what's on the easel in the studio at the moment then?
Oh, I've been painting a couple of big Hollywood sort of pictures.
Right, yeah.
At the minute, what I'm doing is I'm trying to sort of gather up a lot of work. I do produce, you know, of about 70 or so paintings ready for Christmas, but I'm only releasing a few for that sort of time, and I'm looking to put together a lovely big show that I haven't really had in a few years.
Brilliant.
Next year.
Excellent.
So just looking for the right venue. I might have it in up where we are ourselves, but I'm just wanting to show them to as many people as I can to appreciate them, you know.
And if people have an idea for a painting that they want done, can they commission one from you?
Well, that's, I mean, most of the time, again, on the loveliness of Facebook and Instagram and things, I guess, everything's very readily available, and I am too. So everybody's always contacting me and saying, oh, I used to go a walk here with my dog or whatever, or a family member, and maybe they're not here anymore, and they want to sort of commission something just to sort of give them something on the wall that they always remember. So yeah, I'm constantly working on different places. Mostly the North Coast now, a lot of people.
Right,
yeah, that seems to be the flavour of the month.
Yeah.
And we have a little, obviously, the walk-in side with Murdoch Beach there. You know, that's quite a famous sort of spot too, you know, for down near the Mourns.
Brilliant.
So yeah.
And if people want one of these pocket squares as well, they're available from your website and your Facebook and stuff.
Yeah,
as well,
I mean, that's I concentrate a lot on my social and websites, and yeah, the silks are available on the site, and I think of about 20 odd stores stocking Belfast too in the visitor centre there. So excellent.
Brilliant, Stephen. It's been good to talk to you.
Lovely.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanking you.
Thank you. Still to come on the show this evening, the brand new Christmas single from a singer-songwriter, Daniel James. And Daniel also joins us a little bit later on as well. I'm going to be talking to road safety influencer Keanan Lloyd-Adams right after these.
Here we are on the North Coast, where sporting legends are made. He needs this putt to advance to the next stage, but can he do it? The crowd are holding their breath. Can he cope with the pressure?
Dad, would you take the shot?
Yes!
Well.
And welcome back to Robin Elliott Tonight. Now, here's a question for all you drivers out there. Would you pass your driving theory test today? Well, according to new research, only 10% of drivers are confident that they know all of the road signs. And we've also seen a huge slump in those passing their driving theory tests. To talk more about this, I'm pleased to say that a young driver and road safety influencer Keanan Lloyd-Adams joins us now, along with Camilla Benitz from the AA Driving School. Guys, thank you for joining us on the show this evening. So first of all, let's talk about the new research then, Camilla. What exactly have we discovered?
So we've discovered that while we've seen the theory test pass rate drop down into the mid-40s for learner drivers, but really interestingly, the AA research shows that only 18% of experienced drivers are confident that if they were to retake their theory test today, that they would pass. So this suggests a worrying gap in knowledge that we really need to brush up our skills and make sure that everyone, whether you're a learner driver or an experienced driver, you know your theory test facts.
So Camilla, for experienced drivers out there, how has the test changed then over the years?
So for the theory test, it's changed in a number of ways over the years. So back in 2007, it increased from 35 to 50 multiple choice questions and a case study was added. And then in 2012, we stopped publishing the answers to the questions, and instead everyone has to learn them, the whole highway code. So they're up to over 700 different questions that could come up that you just absolutely need to be ready for. So this is arguably making for a slightly more challenging test than it used to be.
Let's bring Keanan in now as well. As a young driver and a road safety influencer, do you know all 700 of them?
Absolutely. Under oath, absolutely.
It is a lot to learn, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes, I agree. And that can be overwhelming. But if you understand the situation, if you come at it with the perception of this information can save not only my life, but also another driver's life on the road, and not only other drivers, but the passengers. You could have all your family in a car. You could have your best friends going on a trip. There could be a family on a school run in the other car. If you're not brushed up on this information and you go down the wrong road, or you're changing, you're at a different speed than you're supposed to be, you don't realize it. That's a lot of responsibility. So it's about understanding that. So when you go into learning this information, you understand, this is life-saving stuff. So
why do you think then that the theory test pass rates are so low at the minute?
I think it boils down to, I think maybe people in my generation, younger, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, maybe are underestimating the importance and how much knowledge you need to know going into it. I think a great perception thing for this to understand is that this is the first time you're taking a test that is important for your life and other people's lives. If you're 16, 17, you've just been taking loads of tests for maths and English and science. If you fail those, we're all okay. No one's going to get severely hurt or have to end up in hospital. If you fail a theory test loads of times or are not brushed up on it, or your practical test, whoa, there are people in cars, as I said, families. It's a big step up into adulthood. And I think in the moment, to answer your question, when these young people are sitting down in front of the screen, there's a countdown clock, you've got 58 minutes for 50 questions. All of a sudden you're like, whoa, you've spent loads of money getting to this point for your driving lessons, and then you've also paid for the theory test, you've also had to wait months for it. It all comes together. And what I've seen online, using my social media influence, I get to see, hands-on engagement. What are people saying? I literally ask them, why is it tough for you? They go, it's so stressful. There's just so much pressure just for this moment. And my tip to help that, to help counteract that, is if you are prepared for it, if you take this as very seriously as you would for your uni exams or whatever it is in your future, understand this is an adulthood sort of test. You take this, you're going to be independent. You can drive wherever you want. You want to do a day trip to Scotland with your friends, you can do that because you took it seriously, you prepped for it, and you are now safer on the roads.
Keanan, would you advise young drivers to start now or maybe leave it for a while?
My recommendation would be to get on it straight away. Even if you're thinking about driving, download that app. It's on all the app stores. It's like $4.99. It is so worth it. I used a similar app back when, but it doesn't have any sort of the features that the new AA Theory Test app has. It's game changing. There's just no other way about it. I wouldn't have learned anything I've learned or been able to drive without it. I would not be here today if I didn't know how to drive. It's how I got my work. It's how I moved. It's how I grew my autocracy, became into myself, my own person. It is a game changer if you prep for it and take it seriously. That's the thing. I think people might not take it seriously enough and just think, it's like my maths exam, wing it, you revise everything on the last day, you leave it to the last minute. If you are on it and you're going to drive in your future, take your time with it, appreciate the seriousness of it, and you'll actually find yourself more motivated to take it seriously and then pass.
And Camilla, I wanted to ask you, why is there such a variation in theory test pass rates from different test centres in various areas then?
Yeah, so we do see quite a variation here, everything from 38% up to some parts of Scotland. Avonmore has got the highest rate at 74%. So there is significant variation. I think the key thing is the theory test, wherever you take it, it is the same. You'll get served different questions, but it is exactly the same format. And so we think quite a lot of this difference just comes down to how prepared those candidates are, and also potentially the nature of the test centre itself, because you could be stressed. It's an exam. You're worried about it. Actually, if you can arrive cool, calm, collected, you've left plenty of time, you've managed to get to the test centre, and you go into your test in the right mindset, then I think that does make a difference, and that can account for some of this variability.
Well, if people want some more help and advice, where can they go to for that?
So just visit the App Store, Google Play or Apple App Store and download the AA Theory Test app. Everything you need to know in one place.
And Keanan, of course, they can follow you on your socials, can't they?
Absolutely, yes. So I'm on TikTok posting relatable car content on @FirstCarUK. I do a lot of road safety tips, just quick, easy 10, 20-second videos just to keep you updated. Or if you're learning, it'll just be a case of you're on TikTok, you know, as you do, as you're scrolling, all of a sudden, oh, that will help me with my theory test that I've already been practicing. I might even remind you to go on your app that you've downloaded to start getting those flashcards up. It's about keeping it consistently in your mind, in your brain. Everyone's going to be on social media. Just constant reminders, you know, keep up to date.
Some great advice there. Keanan and Camilla, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Right, next up, an award-winning family, a young man who won gold at the recent British Transplant Games. His mum also won a huge award recently for her nursing career. So I'll be chatting to Glendon and Dylan Cohey. Here's what happened when I met them earlier this week. Right, up next we're talking awards and a double award-winning family. Glenda and Dylan Cohey join us in the studio and we'll find out more about their recent successes. Guys, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Glenda, I want to start with you because you're one of these fabulous people who's out there caring for the community, and you were just saying there about the long hours that you work. I mean, they're crazy really, aren't they?
They are indeed. We're quite thin on the ground at the minute, so it's all hands on deck.
And I would imagine this time of year as well, it's needed a lot more, isn't it?
It is, definitely. Lots of families they're struggling.
Yeah.
So they are. Sort of after COVID sort of happened, it was a case of, you know, families were struggling because they weren't able to go. So there was only us going into the properties to see them and give them whatever they needed to give, and quite often doing shopping and things like that. So it's kind of a knock-on effect really, and it's still continuing.
You won a big award recently.
I did.
Tell us about that. It was the Heart of the Peninsula Award.
I did. I actually won 2 awards.
Wow.
So I won the Client Choice Award,
yeah,
which is the award that's actually, I'm nominated by my service users in the community. And then I won the overall Heart of the Peninsula.
Wow. You must be very proud.
I am. Slightly shell-shocked still. Can't get over it. But, oh no, it's an amazing honour to win it. So it is. And it makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah. Makes all the long hours worth it.
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah. You must be very proud of this young man sitting beside you as well here.
Oh, there's not even enough words to tell you how proud I am of him. So there's not. He's an amazing young man.
Who won gold at the British Transplant Games. Dylan, what was that like?
It's unbelievable. So it's great. Just being out there with my fellow teammates.
Yeah.
So it's good fun.
Tell us his story then. I would imagine it's something you never imagined was ever going to happen.
No, it was never. Dylan was born with a very rare metabolic condition called maple syrup urine disease. So he was literally from 4 days old. It was protein. He couldn't tolerate certain amino acids found in protein. So pretty much he got very sick very quickly and spent a good majority of his life in and out of hospital and being tube fed, never having a normal diet. Constant restrictions on low protein food, and eventually it got to the stage when he sort of got into the double figures. He wouldn't be able to tolerate things as much as he did previously, and his diet just really wasn't controlling. He had more sick days than good days.
Yeah.
And when Dylan was sick, it was almost like he had a stroke.
Right.
So he couldn't sit up, he couldn't stand. Pre-transplant, most of his life was spent in a wheelchair. So it was 56 or 56 hospital admissions?
It was 60, I think, by the end of it.
Oh, was it 60 by the end of it?
Yeah.
There you are.
Amazing, yeah.
Sure.
And 9 visits to intensive care.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it came to the stage then that the decision had to be made then for transplant.
Yeah.
So it was. So it's quite a difficult decision to make.
Yeah.
At the time, because you sort of only know there's not a lot of data, because Dylan, obviously his was a metabolic condition and things, so a lot of research had to be done before we actually agreed to it. But ultimately it was Dylan's decision, and he didn't think twice. But a very special thing about Dylan, Dylan's actually a domino transplant.
Right, okay, what does that mean?
So his liver didn't work for him, but it worked perfectly well for somebody else.
Right.
So Dylan got a transplant and he donated his liver to somebody else.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. But I got to ask you about the transplant games as well, because after going through everything you've gone through, how do you pick yourself up? How do you do your training? How does it work?
I mean, I've been down quite a lot, so you got to push through. Adversity reveals character, as our coach of the Giants always says, brings out the best in you.
Yeah.
So I've always stayed resilient and kept focused and had a goal in mind, and that was to win gold. When I got there, the feeling of it was just something different. You know, I just didn't want to get too high because it was day one, but it was just amazing. And to be with so many special people I met on the day was amazing.
So you've got the gold then. So what's next for you? Is there any more challenges? Anything you want to do?
I just want to continue raising awareness, to be honest, about organ donation, having the chat, but also with transplant sport in Northern Ireland, we're always looking for new players. Like the football, we just entered the Disability League, so we're always looking for more players to come and join. So, like this past transplant games, we nearly had to forfeit due to injury.
Right, yeah.
Because we were short-bodied.
Yeah.
And we had players that playing through torn hamstrings, and I think I went and I near tore my MCL trying to play. So it's crazy. So we're always looking for new people.
So for people watching this at the moment, how important is organ donation? Should people be carrying those little cards and things?
Oh, of course. You know, if you look at the likes of myself and my teammates, if we didn't get them organs, I know if I continued being sick, I wouldn't have had the fight, honestly. Before transplant, I wouldn't have been able to continue.
Yeah.
So it's extremely important to have that chat. You know, I said to my mum, as soon as they asked me if I wanted to donate, I just said, yeah, I'm donating it. It's either that or it's no use to me.
Yeah.
So
he was only 13 at the time. Wow. And for a 13-year-old kid, you know, to be given that huge decision to make and didn't even bat an eyelid, just right away, yes, just take it.
That's amazing.
So it's unbelievable. And life, I know they say or transplant is life-changing, but it really has been for our family. Yeah. Like we've been able to travel. Now, we went to Switzerland last year, and this year we're not long back from a cruise, and where that was never ever possible.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. So it really has been life-changing. And in all honesty, he has grabbed it with both hands and run with it, and he is living his life to the full.
And through it all, you kept working. You were staying with him by his bedside in hospital. You were getting up, you were doing your job at the same time. And
yeah, because I couldn't let my service users down either.
Yeah.
I had that sense of sort of, I needed to be there for them as well as, you know, Dylan too. But equally, you had to keep things as normal because that was part of our life.
Yes.
You know, hospital admissions and constant sick day regimes and things like that. So there had to be some form of normality. And all Dylan knew was even when he was at home, he got up, got dressed, went to school, Mummy went to work, and he came home, Mummy was at home. So there was no different when he was in the hospital.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I have to say, I struggled finding an employer that would actually, the hours were flexible to allow me to do that until Peninsula came along. Because up until then, I was actually a civil servant.
Really? Oh,
for 13 years, So it was, and then it just became increasingly more difficult to keep the job and look after Dylan. Whereas with Peninsula, when my husband came home in the evening, I was able to go out to work then at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then as Dylan got older and things sort of changed, I was able to change hours. And even whenever it came to transplant, because you're waiting on a phone call, and that phone call can come at any stage of the day.
Yeah.
And like, I'm so grateful to all the office staff and stuff. They worked round the clock, like whenever it came, when the calls did come, when I was out on shift.
But that waiting game, waiting for that call, that must have been so difficult as well.
It's the most difficult bit about it, the whole journey. Because Dylan actually had 4 false alarm calls. So 4 times we had to, because Dylan could never fast, so we had to kick-start an emergency regime. So once the phone call came, I had to put tubes and stuff in and start feeding him as emergency. Then you have to wait on the transplant coordinators to get you to Birmingham, which is where the transplant was taking place. So 4 times that was done. The fourth time, actually, it got to the point where he had actually had pre-med and was almost at theatre, and it was just at the last minute it was pulled. Until the fifth call he actually got it. Yeah. So it was, but it was 2.5 years he waited. So it was, which was, your life's on hold.
Yes, yeah.
You know, and even though we're massive hockey fans, even when we went to the arena, like, they used to call me the trolley dolly, because I come with my wee trolley, you know, with all his supplies, ready to kickstart it if a call came. And even down to where we parked the car, we couldn't be blocked in a car park.
Yeah.
So you had to, all these things you had to think about. So your life basically revolved around waiting for that call.
Exactly.
So
You back watching the Giants again?
Oh, yes.
And how are they doing?
We're in a bit of a rut at the moment, but I have every faith in the coach.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been great.
Good stuff. Well, do you know what? It's been lovely talking to both of you. Congratulations on both your awards. She's a pretty special mummy, isn't she?
She is. I'm very proud of her.
Dylan, great talking to you as well. Congratulations on your gold. Thanks
you.
for coming in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fabulous story there from Dylan and Glenda Cohey. Up next, we'll be chatting to Daniel James, and we'll have his brand new Christmas single on the way right after these.
Let the good times roll at Super Strikes at the Jet Centre. You can now book your lane online. We've got 14 bowling lanes and 4 mini bowling lanes. Plus we serve delicious hot food and snacks, or enjoy a cold beverage with your food after the game. Discover bowling today at the Jet Centre. Jet Centre. Entertainment for everyone.
So welcome back to Rob and Elliott tonight. Time for some brand new music. Something festive now, the new single from Daniel James. This is called Silent Night, Oh Holy Night.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of the dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary soul rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, hear the angel's voices all night.
Brand new music from Daniel James, and I'm pleased to say the man himself joins us in the studio. How are you, sir?
Oh, it's great to be back in Belfast, Robin.
Great to see you again. I can't believe it's been a year since the last time you were
A
here.
whole year, I know.
Yeah.
It's amazing how time flies.
You've been out and about today visiting the city, so what did you think?
Well, as you know, I've got a soft spot for Belfast. We went to the City Hall.
Yeah. Did
a little bit of filming in that to be really quick. We kind of got there and asked them at reception. Went, oh, you've got to fill 6 forms in. But she said, just quickly do it. You know, so they've got all these beautiful windows and stuff.
Yeah.
So I walked down the corridor and told the story of all the windows, and then they've got an amazing tree in the middle, and that lovely, a mural at the top. So I just want people to see what fabulous things they've got here in Belfast.
Another special reason why you're here as well. You do some work with some local singers here as well, don't you?
Yes, in Rathcoole.
Yeah.
Cool Studios. And it's a fabulous group. They go after school every night of the week, during the week, and they work with them on vocals, on confidence, on sound, on music, and I think it's a great thing for kids to do after school. And I float in there every now and again and mentor them a little bit. I've actually sent them Silent Night, Oh Holy Night in advance.
Right.
So I have a feeling when I get there tonight, we might be doing it together. Fingers
wow,
crossed. And they're great singers.
Yeah.
When I was there last year, the talent, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
Really is. And they're just regular kids. We're not talking eyes and teeth, stage school.
Yeah.
We're talking regular kids, and I think some of them are going to go on and be very big.
What were you like when you were young? Were you one of those stage school kids, or...? No.
I'm from the northeast of England, as you well know. It's very much like parts of Belfast, working class at one end. And no, there was nothing at my school. In the junior school, primary school, I played Joseph in the Nativity. Well, as everybody knows, Joseph doesn't really have much to do, does he?
Exactly, yes.
So I'm standing there with a staff and a cloak. Halfway through, the teachers come over and go, we're going to give you something to do because you're just standing there for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So they gave me Oh Holy Night.
Right, okay.
So that feeds into how I ended up recording the single. But then I went to senior school, comprehensive school, and it was in Northeast. Have you seen the movie Kes?
Yes, yes.
My family life wasn't like Kes, but my school was.
Right, okay. Yeah.
And if you haven't seen the movie, go and look at Kes. Fabulous, Ken Loach.
Yes, of course, yeah.
So everybody was just like Kes. Well, we had this rugby. I don't like rugby. I like football. So he also ran the drama club and the singing club. So we're in the changing room, in the showers, as kids, and I just heard him call my name. Well, in those days, you went. So I'm standing there with my towel, shivering in the cold,
yes.
And he said, "I hear you do a bit of singing." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Do you want to sing? Do you want to join the drama group?" And I said, yeah, it'd be great." And he said, "You can only join the drama group if you're my prop forward in rugby." And I thought, this is the last thing I want to do. Cold January, stud marks all over the ground. I'm in there in, skinny shorts and stuff. So he says, "Get out there." Yeah. So we go out, and there's an opposing team, and I've got my mate, thankfully, on this side. So we're running around doing whatever, and we get tackled, and my mate's tackled across me, and someone falls on top of him. Anyway, he kind of groaned a bit, and I thought, I don't like this.
No.
All my arm was grazed. Anyway, when we got back to the showers, we're standing there in the showers, teenage lads, joking around, and I look down, and he's got a tooth in his arm. The guy that had tackled him had went down heavy, and I looked and I thought, nah, that's not for me.
Oh, no.
So I said to Mr. Grattan, I said, "Please, sir," like Oliver Twist, he's up there, and I'm like this. And I said, "Sir, I'm sorry, I really don't want to do the rugby. I'll do anything else." And he said, "If you don't do the rugby, you don't sing a note in the whole 5 years you're in this school. In fact, if you ever come near one of our meetings," he said, "it'll be the last thing you ever do." And he clipped me around the ear, because in those days they could do that.
Yeah.
And he whacked me around the head. I haven't recovered, as you can see. And so I never got to sing in senior school. So I went through the whole 5 years. So, we're talking about nowadays, I'm going to Rathcoole to Cool Studios, and they're, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and even younger. They get to do it 2 or 3 times a week. I never sung. I auditioned for a talent show when I was about 15, and I was in the local paper, the Hartlepool Mail. And when my mum went to work the next day, all her workmates said, "Oh, your boy was in the paper," and she went, "I never knew he could sing." Because I went into myself, I just never ever sung. Yeah. And also, in those days, from the northeast of England, there was nothing vaguely showbiz. Yeah. And in fact, in school, you didn't even put your hand up if they said, "Do you want to read this poem?"
Yes, you
wouldn't have got out of the class with your legs. So basically, I ended up going to Newcastle to try and do some things, and Sunderland and Middlesbrough, trying to look for it. And I met this guy in Newcastle called Dave Whalley, who I think was the union rep. and he got me some small parts in a series called Barriers and in Machine Gunners, set in World War II. And the director said to me, look, if you want to get anywhere in the career, he said, you're going to have to move to London. Because he said there's just nothing. And there wasn't in the 80s anything there. Of course, now they're building a film studio in Hartlepool, a film studio on the banks of the Wear in Sunderland. And I'm like, perhaps I should move home. So basically, that's why I moved to London. So a long answer to your question, no, I was the last person in the world that you'd have thought would have been doing this.
Tell us about the new single, because it's doing very well on the Heritage chart at the moment, isn't it?
I think it sounds very Christmassy and atmospheric. So we finished it, and then I thought, right, we need a video. So we went down to Arundel in West Sussex and filmed it, and it snowed.
Wow.
It's the one thing we didn't have, we got, in the castle there were some old ruins, and I was sitting in the arch of the ruin, and the camera was there, you know, poser. And I have to sing the lines in, but I had a lamp. We couldn't find anywhere to hang the lamp. So I look around, of course, you know, typical me, no thought. I got up, strode over, and there were some reeds. And I just thought, oh, well, I'll pull one of these out. So I pulled this reed out, plonked it down, managed to bury it and hang the lamp on it. And one of the wardens from the castle went by and went, they've been there since Henry VIII's time.
Wow.
And I just pulled it up like it was a piece of long grass and put it down. And I'm kind of singing, thinking, are they going to sue me? Are they going to throw me off the land? Anyway, he kind of, we smoothed it all over. But, you know, so when you watch it, and I'm sitting in like there's a very old archway, I'm sitting in rocks and like an old ruin. The reed there is from Henry VIII's time. It's obviously grown since, you know? So, there's just more than one antique in the video.
Right, I'm going to take you way back in time.
Oh, I'm scared now.
Way back in time to the year 1987. Okay, now my reason for this is because I went on eBay earlier on and I made a purchase. And I haven't done that for a long time because I have an eBay obsession. But I went on and I bought a DVD this morning.
Oh no, which one?
Off a movie called Bloody New Year. Do you know what, ladies and gentlemen, before we talk about it, here's a clip.
Attacked by the dead, threatened by evil, chased by the unknown, terrorized by monsters.
Scary stuff. It's become a cult classic, and it's starring you.
I'm in there with June Whitfield's daughter, Susie Aitchison. We are 5 kids that go on a holiday. It was actually filmed in Barry Island. We spent the whole summer before Barry Island became famous for the comedy show. We had a great time with 5 young kids. In the movie you can see me wrestling with one of the stunt guys on the back of a speedboat going down the road, and then we're in a little boat rowing, actually in the channel. And they put a hole in the bottom, and what they didn't realise was the guy said, oh, I've put a little hole in, it'll take ages to sink. It went glug, glug, glug. I was up to my tummy in water, and I had to do this romantic scene with this American girl in the boat, and I'm going lower and lower and lower down the boat, and I'm trying to chat her up. Can you imagine? And then the boat sinks and we get out and we walk onto the island. Of course, it's a haunted hotel on the island. And I won't spoil it for everybody, but it's kitsch, it's cult, it's fun. It's one of those movies you want to put on at 11 o'clock on a Friday night when you've had a few drinks with your mates, because it's frightening, but it's funny as well.
The thing that impressed me most about it is it's directed by Norman J. Warren, who I'm actually a fan of. I loved the old movies like Prey. I loved Inseminoid, which, by the way, is like the pound shop version of Alien, starring Stephanie Beacham. Everybody has to watch Inseminoid as well.
Great actress.
Isn't she?
She was fabulous in Conning. But you see what I mean? Norman J. Warren wrote the script and he directed it, and the seed of the idea is fantastic. What he needed was, Spielberg to say, there's a couple of million. But this was 1987. It was a low budget, but it's believable and it's great fun, and I love doing it. So if you're going to get Bloody New Year...
Yes, get the album as well.
Get the album, let's go. But most of all, you can download Silent Night, Oh Holy Night.
Yes.
You might want to give it to your granny at Christmas. Put it on your mixtape in the car. Yeah. Play it Christmas Day when you're unwrapping the gifts.
Or what they can do, they can scan their TV screen right now because you've got the QR code
Look at that.
on your T-shirt.
That is the QR code. Please do that. You can also watch the video again. You can vote on the Heritage chart, and you can download the single.
There we go. We are out of time. Daniel James, it's great to see you. Come back again next year. Yeah?
Thank you so much.
You'll do that. We'll see you back here same time next week. It's a Christmas special. See you then. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Movie House Cinemas. Popcorn? Yes, please. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the movie. Reclining chairs? Don't mind if I do. Action, thriller, romance, we got it all. Discover the cinema today. Movie House Cinemas, home of the movies.